they're getting there. You know,
Yeah,
I'm still salty about what they did to Tribes, man.
A lot of people.
But I kind of understand it. Like the thing about Tribes is, and people were bitching about like, oh, it's just Hi-Rez fault. It's Hi-Rez fault. No, and they were saying, oh, you know, well, they should have just made it a $30 game that you buy. No one would have fucking played it, because that game has a barrier to entry, and it always will, and all the Tribes games have had a barrier to entry, and as much as people like to pretend that Tribes was this bazillion-selling game back in the day, no, it fucking wasn't. It was not an easy game to play. It was awesome, but it was really hard to be good at that game.
I never got to play it. I never got to play it just because seeing a little bit, I'm like, how the fuck am I going to be precise with this?
It's fucking difficult.
It's hard. It's like,
that's the joy
Halo
of
on
it.
crack. Halo on crack. That's why I always say, I'm like, Halo on freaking crack. Because, like, it was too fast.
Well, I mean, you know, the original Halo definitely took some ideas from Tribes 2. There's no doubt about it. Like, you know, back in the day, Tribes 2 really... and Star Siege Tribes in general were groundbreaking, and even now, you know, Tribes Ascend is still kind of groundbreaking because most games don't do it. And I love the skiing in that game, but Tribes was fucking difficult. It had a really high learning curve. If you want to point to why Tribes failed, it's not because of Hi-Rez. Hi-Rez fucked up a lot, but Tribes failed because people don't want to play something that's that fucking difficult. They suck.
Well, what about Dark Souls though?
Dark Souls is a single player game. You don't have to display your bad skill to the world.
But that takes what you just said and makes it people don't want to play something difficult. They're still playing and the game is difficult, so that kind of
Dark Souls, absolutely, but a competitive multiplayer game where you just get completely wrecked so hard in that game. And
no, I don't think that's fair. I don't think it should be like something that a game that's so like advanced should shit on you right away. But
I mean, what choice do you have, really?
Yeah, I know people. Yeah,
you can't just ignore half the game mechanics. Like, you know, if you want to be good at a game like that, you have got to learn it, and you will get wrecked in the process of doing that. There was like a little bracket, but once you got to level 10, you were thrown in with the sharks, like with everybody. And people ask, oh, what about StarCraft 2? Guess what? A lot of people don't fucking ladder on StarCraft 2. You know, we talk about dead game, dying game. A lot of people don't ladder on StarCraft 2 because it's fucking intimidating. And it's this, you know, Tribes was intimidating as well. You have to learn a lot to be even close to being good at that game. In a game like Dark Souls, you can fuck up on your own and no one has to see your failures unless you're a streamer.
Let's be clear, with Dark Souls, it's a difficult game, but the reason people are playing it is there's a lot of hype behind it right now.
That's
true,
a lot
of hype. And there are a lot of other difficult games that are just as difficult that people do not play because they're difficult. Dark Souls has, ever since the last one, there was that big wave of like, holy shit hype. When the new one came out, it's, you know? Yeah, it's the thing people want to play because they want to be involved. It's sort of like
It's a trend. Like when
Pokemon
became a thing, everybody started playing Pokemon.
Like Twitch played Pokemon. Yeah.
It really is.
I get you.
With the way that they generally do the lore in something like Dark Souls, it's good to be kind of on the bandwagon where the bandwagon is just like starting off, because otherwise it's spoilers, things become passé. It's the feeling of exploring, and let's be honest, Dark Souls is designed around that. Because even though it's
uncovering lore.
Yeah, uncovering lore, and like other people are in your world, but kind of not. So you're always feeling like you're not entirely alone. Obviously, you get invaded and you can go to different worlds and things like that. But like even just seeing the ghosts of other people, you feel like you're along for a kind of collective experience. And I think that you don't feel that as much when you get on the bandwagon way later. So people were just ready to go with the PC version, all jumped on at the same time, and you know kept an eye on the death counter and saw all the messages and everything like that. And that's kind of a real strength of it. But something like Tribes, again, I like Tribes. I think Hi-Rez fucked up a lot with it, but they didn't fuck up as much as people believe that they did.
Yeah,
I do not believe like yes, there were some guns that were OP, but they were certainly in the minority. And I don't think it was a pay-to-win game. I think they could have certainly done the business model better. I don't think the class system was necessarily the way to go. But the core gameplay was still fucking fun. Yeah. The problem was not Hi-Rez in that regard. People can bitch about the physics engine to the end of time. That was the minority of people that liked Tribes 2 complained about that. The majority of people enjoyed the game, but either they just didn't stay, or there wasn't enough retention to the game.
Yeah,
and
could have been that.
A lot of people just hit that brick wall and said, oh shit, this game's too hard. I can't play this game. I'm fucking out. Give me a game where I can run and gun and aim down sights and get a fucking Master Sergeant shooter person.
Master Sergeant shooter person.
Exactly. Give me that. You know? So I think that, you know, a lot of Hi-Rez definitely did a lot of bad things with Tribes, but they did also a lot of good things with Tribes, and I don't think Tribes could have ever succeeded. Like, truly succeeded And I was impressed that it lasted.
Where you feel that was the case, though?
Because you're talking about a game that is fundamentally different to any modern shooter in every way. And you're asking people, get in on this instead of getting in on Call of Duty or on Battlefield or anything along those lines. It's a hard sell. And really, even explaining Tribes to someone that hasn't played Tribes is fucking ludicrously difficult.
So the question is, though, do you feel if it had more, like, I guess, hype or bandwagon behind it and more people would have been in there and I guess more people would just, like, make, like, a cult of playing the game, kind of like what happened with majority of the big games that kind of just blow up? You think that would have saved it or not?
I don't think it would have saved it ultimately. I think it would have helped it in the short term, but I think inevitably that game probably would have just died off. And some of that's Hi-Rez's fault because they didn't properly support the competitive scene, and the competitive scene does keep this stuff alive much, much longer than a casual player would. But still, I think that the barrier to entry in a game like that is very, very high, and players just struggle to really get engaged with it. And if it doesn't click with them very quickly these days, they just go. You can jump into Call of Duty, kill some people, and you're instantly in there. With Tribes, it's like, welcome to Tribes. Prepare to get fucked for 20 hours. And we're not even going to buy you dinner first. And then, maybe, just maybe, you kill someone with a spin fuser. And maybe you feel like you're kind of Tribes. And that game just whips you around for hours and hours and hours, saying, look how bad you are in comparison to everybody else. And I loved that about it.
That could be discouraging, and some people could get like the whole like thrill of like, oh, I finally got a kill. But like for me, it's always like I'm a person of precision, learning the precision and being able to like, all right, now this is how you have to shoot. All right, some things have like drop or whatever, like learning it. But like for me, seeing the little of it that I saw, I was like, how the fuck am I ever going to know where am I aiming? Do I have to aim like 2 days before or 2 days earlier?
Or being able to spin fuse with someone, the Blue Disc Special midair, being able to travel at 500 miles an hour. Like,
it's crazy.
You watch these guys and I'm like, I'll never be this good. This is pointless.
Before they start, just to go, all right, let's go.
Yeah, pretty much.
They just hopped up on shit like, all right, I see everything in slow motion. This is great.
I can just imagine the trailer to Limitless being that. It's like, you see, you only use 10% of your brain, and then someone just fucking spin fuse her. Oh, God. Oh, man. That again, it was a hard game. It's a shame it went the way that it did, but it did. Hey, anyway, we need to take a break.